I know who are very intelligent, graduate educated people who support fair tax.
Yeah.
Their bottom line issue seems to be that they don't have a sense of control of getting what they earn. When they have to pay an income tax, Social Security tax, they feel out of control.
Yeah.
The notion that they would only pay tax when they buy something makes them feel more in control. They say, I get to decide how much tax I pay
Right.
by how much I buy. So I think that that's its
I think I would say either way, if you're going to participate in the economy and you're going to benefit from it, you're going to pay tax. Now, whether it's a tax on the money that comes in or the money that goes out, it's not realistic to say that you're not going to spend any money on consumption if you're living in society. So it's also, you could say, well, you don't have to earn money either, right? I mean, if you're going to participate in our economy, you're going to benefit from it, and you're going to have to pay taxes. That's just, I mean, that's kind of fundamentally the way it is. I mean, I don't know, it's hard to get around that.
Yeah, to me, the basics of it is it's so attractive to so many people who are upper income earners because they say, oh my gosh, I won't have to pay, I can pay for everything I need with the first $40,000, and from that point on I pay no taxes. Whoopee.
Well,
but it means that the burden of all of government services, of everything we do, will be on the standard wage earner who makes the median income.
It's a regressive
He'll pay
system.
taxes on every dime he makes,
and I think
the rich won't. And it's like free money. Once again, it's on the backs
And
of
there's
the
a
working man.
philosophical argument about, you know, should your relationship to government be quid pro quo? I pay for the services I get, or should you have some responsibility as being part of our society? And I think there's a difference there. And if you really think it should be quid pro quo and this is my money, then I think you don't understand your responsibility as being a member of a society. And also, even if you look at it as quid pro quo, the more money you make, the more you've benefited from the system we have. And the system we have is predicated on good government. So if we don't have good government, then our system isn't going to work. So if you don't have, securities being regulated, people aren't going to make money investing. If you don't have education systems and highway systems, businesses aren't going to operate. So the people that benefit from those businesses and from those investments, wealthy people, I think actually, it's not right to say they don't benefit more than someone who's a wage earner. So I think there's some real philosophical differences. But I wasn't going to talk about that because I just want to talk about the claims they made and why I think they're wrong. That was really the focus. And the last claim, I know we don't have a whole lot of time, but there is a claim most people will pay less under the fair tax. Well, if it's going to be revenue neutral, there's a misconnect there to say most people will pay less. And I'll refer you to an article by Jay Bookman, who writes far better than I ever will. Fervent faith in fair tax defies reason. And he goes through an exercise where he gets on the fair tax supporters website and tries plugging in different numbers to see whether you're going to pay more or less. And it's like everybody pays less. But if everybody pays less, how's it revenue neutral? So I think that's just sort of something missing in the way it's presented there. So I won't go through that, but
I think possibly the reason that people might pay a little less is more people are going to pay into it.
Are going to pay what?
More people are going to pay into it. And that gets
Why would that be?
that gets into the underground. It broadens the base, just like they talk in there about the state sales tax. Okay, and what that in Georgia right now our sales tax is around 6%. Under this, the estimates drop that percentage down in order to cover everything that's included in the income tax and all that.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's more people are going to be involved in paying that 23%.
Well,
I think so.
Well, but it is sort of. He does say, he goes through the calculation. He says, okay, I put in my income as a middle wage earner, and I'm going to save $5,000 a year. I put in George Bush's or someone that we knew and we have access to their tax returns and made a lot of money. They're going to pay like $80,000 less a year. And then he goes, finally I hit pay dirt and I found someone who pays more. And it's like, a a wage earner that rents their home and has 4 kids and makes like 20, because really poor people aren't going to pay fair tax. So it's really that that working class. If the wealthiest people are going to save a lot of money, and the people that are the most impoverished are not going to pay any tax, where's the tax coming from? I mean, it's going to be the working class, and that's really where it's coming from.
You and me.
Yeah.
Question, you started off by saying that the Tea Partiers switched to the flat tax. If I remember right, the Steve Forbes flat tax from years back was
Yep.
on wages, salaries, and tips. It had nothing to do with investment income. Is this the same flat tax?
I think so.
I'm not sure. It wouldn't surprise me for them to just sort of have a revelation that this is just not workable, and then say, okay, let's come up with something else that's regressive that maybe we can get to work. 'Cause I think people that really look at this, well, George Bush had a committee that looked at it and came to the conclusion, it's just not workable. It really isn't. And I don't think there's any danger of this actually passing, because anyone that looks at it closely will see that it's not going to generate the revenue it needs to. There's no way.
Well, I mean, I'm all for a flat tax across the board income. But if you start looking at just wages and salaries, that's not fair.
Yeah.
So that's what I was saying,
Well,
watching a flat tax.
We could have a whole nother discussion on that. Yeah.
In the email that was sent out on this, it referenced the AJC article that was written in 2007, in which the author challenged boards to go on the radio with him and express what he would actually pay personally now versus.
Right.
Did he ever do that?
I don't think so.
No.
He said it too, put it in his article.
That article's over here, by the way, if you want a copy of it.
2007.
Are you up yet?
This is
I
2007.
said, are you up
Yeah,
yet?
I know.
Right, but he still says that.
That's 3 years, that's 3 years.
Is like,
And yet,
like
it
Russia.
was remodeled, he doesn't even answer
Yeah.
I heard you wrestling district, I think.
Real economist ever
Most
said that
Republican
the
district
program
in the
works,
state.
or is it all
I think we do a
politicians
pretty good turnout.
and
Yeah.
radio show hosts that say the program
This
works?
sounds like a climate change or something discussion. I'd say there are. I mean, if you look at them, they've got a whole list of economists that say it works.
Oh, really?
And there is the guy that did the calculation of 23%, and he never published how he did it, but he's written articles, and I can't remember his name. But if you look at the Wikipedia article on fair tax, you'll see it. So there are even some that I've tried to get in touch with and figure out who they are, and I never pursued that as much as I should. It would be an interesting thing to do. A lot of them are conservative think tank types, yeah. But there are definitely economists that say it works. Now, whether they're real economists or not, I don't have the ability to tell.
Paul Krugman has not come out and said.
No, he has not come out and said that he thinks this is a good idea. No.
No.
No.